Well, good afternoon, everybody, and we're jamming out to the birds because today is National Look-alike Day, which means, who do you look like?
We look alike.
I don't know how people tell us apart, Grant, whether we're here on your show or we're out in the community. People are like, Mark, Grant, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
You're the same person.
What's the show, The Twins?
The movie was called Twins, and it was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
I look like Danny for sure.
I was always hoping that they were gonna do maybe a sequel or a reboot of that because there are lots of great folks who
it's some great
kind of look like they do, but not twins. So welcome to our weekly show. I'm Mark Trowbridge with our Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce, and as always, joined by the able-bodied, incredibly handsome, and my twin, Grant Miller of Miami's community newspapers.
Well, speaking about twins, how much have you lost? Most people gained 19 pounds
during COVID?
Since last March. How much weight did you
I'm down now under 320, and so that is the lightest that I have been since I can remember. And my goal is to be right at about 300 when I get to my birthday in about 3 weeks. It's going to be close, and it's not helpful, when I love myself an Arbiter's hot dog. But
thank you, Dave Arbiter.
I know, Dave. You're a beautiful man, and that was an incredible, incredible dog. And Grant always plies me. Let's not use numbers. Let's round down. Maybe one is saved for later.
Oh, yeah,
already in my stomach. So yeah, that's the goal. At my highest weight, oh my goodness, I was 470, and so that was a long time ago.
Wait, you're a 470 at one time. Working at the chamber.
So 150 pounds less. Yeah, probably early on. I mean, the chamber, God bless. But I have to tell you, the biggest challenge is, that everything we do is around food. So a breakfast meeting, a lunch, a reception. And so my typical habit was, some type of fast food breakfast, terrible for you. I'd have a chamber luncheon or a one-on-one or, a lunch with a potential member or a board member.
Or a lunch with a trustee.
And then I would go and go to a reception at least 4 nights a week. So you have finger food, diet soda, something sweet. And then I would hit, either another fast food place on my way home because I live where there's a Taco Bell, a McDonald's, a Wendy's, a Burger King, a KFC. All, you kind of hit the trifecta.
All right. So how much weight have you lost since March 19th?
Oh, gosh. It's probably, 220? Then I'm at probably 72 pounds.
Wow. And I'm begging for 3 pounds.
Yeah, I was under 400, but still pretty big boy. So listen, it's great. And once you get the momentum going, I have a great team that I work with, a nutritionist, an endocrinologist. I have a sleep doctor. No, my gastroenterologist, Michelle Perlman. Hey, Dr. Perlman. I'm going to see Dr. Icabellis next week, doing a full blood workup, see where we're at, any improvements. Obviously, weight loss helps a lot, but I'm 52. I'm going to be 53 in 3 weeks. So,
are you inviting us to the party, Tommy? Did you get the invitation?
A party. 53 isn't really a milestone.
Tommy didn't get an invitation.
Well, I haven't been invited to anything.
So
I know 2 things are happening. I'm going away the previous weekend with my niece and nephew up to Orlando.
Wait, did you get your invitation, Tommy?
Nope. Diana put together, along with Taylor, a great trip up to the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, Grand Lakes.
Wow.
So we've got a couple of great dinner reservations, a spa appointment. I'm getting something called the Grand, Grande, because it's the Grand Lakes. And it includes a massage and I think, a bunch of things, like 75 minutes. Oh, sounds heavenly.
All right. So let's talk about Coral Gables. So much going on in Coral Gables. Election happened a week ago. Was it a week ago Tuesday already?
We did a week ago today. And so congratulations. You all did a great follow-up that evening. Michael and I had a little bit of a handshake agreement of where we thought things would end up. And I didn't do very well on that. At the commission race, I did okay. I kind of had 2 of them reversed, but that's okay. That's all right. Well, we got the big runoff on the 27th. Polls are open 7 to 7 that day. Absentee ballots dropped at the end of last week, but they're due back pretty quick. And early voting comes around this weekend, and you can be part of that if you want to early vote at the Coral Gables Library. That's on the 24th and 25th. So Chamber doesn't endorse candidates, but we remind you of 3 things. Be informed, please vote, and remember that all 4 of these candidates, Ms. Anderson, Mr. Banos, Mr. Menendez, and Mr. Valdez-Fowley. All of them signed our pledge of positivity. And so we hold them to that all the way through the end of the campaign, them as individuals and them, of course, as the leaders of their campaigns. I heard from one of our partners from our candidates forum that you were at that they had received 53 mailers from the 13 different candidates, not all of them, but across the candidates, most of them just talking about the individual's experience and why they should vote for them, but quite a few negative campaign mailers. And so I'm hoping, again, we have to learn from these opportunities, but it's hard to wash that stain of negativity off of you when you need to now govern. And that's what happens on April 30th. The runoff, 27th, they'll certify the election results on the 30th, and they'll swear in the new commission on the 30th.
Okay, let's talk about history. Last mayor race 2 years ago, how much did the mayor win by?
He was 137.
Okay, 2 years before that?
Maybe 180.
And who ran before that? Kaysen.
Kaysen, he won by about, I think, 20% in that, 42% in the race before that.
He won by 42%?
Yeah, because he was at beginning of his second term. He was very popular.
And so Vince Lago, great turnout.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll quote Pat Keon, and I don't think she would mind it. She goes, that kind of turnout and that kind of response, 58%, is it's a mandate. That's what she said, and she's incredibly gracious, and we're going to miss her time after 8 years. She's been very involved with our chamber, our business community, our board of directors, but she's ready to retire, and we thank her for her service.
She's on her Facebook page, or one of her pages. Best thing ever happened, because now she's going to spend full-time grandmother.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't mean to say retire, but maybe from public life.
Yes, but she is good.
She is a great grandmother.
Yeah, you can see it in the pictures. Oh, she's glowing.
I remember a couple years ago, she was going to New York with her granddaughter, and it was just the two of them, just grandma, and I want to say Ella was maybe 7, 8, young. And they were going to have a girls' weekend in New York. And I was super jealous because I go to New York a couple times a year. Certainly haven't in more than a year, but I love New York City. I love theater. I love the museums. I love the restaurants. But all I kept thinking to myself was, I want to go on that trip. Sounds like fun.
You could have went on there.
No, much like you're not invited, I wasn't invited.
So
but, we wish her well.
This month is also Autism Month.
It is.
And they had a bike ride. I don't know where it started, but thousands of motorcycles from here all the way down to Peterson Motors, Harley Davidson. They had the commissioner,
like a poker run,
right? I
saw it. Danielle Cohen-Higgins.
Cohen-Higgins was there. Chairman of the board, Jose Pepe Diaz, was there. Regalado was there.
Yep. I saw
Oliver Gilbert. He is everywhere, and it was impressive. And then we had autism, and also this month is also
Earth Month. So I'm glad you brought up autism. I have a wonderful young nephew who's about 16, who is on the spectrum. Just a great kid, Benjamin. And so, not growing up, probably having a lot of experience of working with people with various abilities, and certainly with autism. When you have a nephew, it brings it very close to home. So you learn a lot of things, you make yourself a lot more aware. But we're really lucky in Coral Gables because we also have a great school called Crystal Academy, and Mary Palacio pilots that.
Which school?
Crystal Academy. And what I love about Mary is that she's super dedicated because, her own children, she was a new mom and had to contend with the fact that this diagnosis was brought forward, and she educated herself, and then she started the Crystal Academy. And
where is it located?
It's located in North Gables, right there by the Women's Club, right next door.
Okay.
Great campus. I think it used to be a church grounds, but so I got invited last Thursday to come and be with the kids and the families and her team, and it was really cool. The police created and outfitted a police cruiser with messages of opportunity, inclusion, and hope. And all the kids got to sit in it. And when they're like, the chamber guy's here, it's like it being a career day. What do kids want to see? The police officer, the fireman, the pilot.
And the chamber person.
Not so much the chamber guy, but it was really great. And
when they asked me to sit, I went in the back seat. I'm so used to sitting in the back seat.
I know. I made that joke. When they said, you want to get in the front seat? I'm like, Not familiar with it.
Now, autism, when people say they're on the spectrum, I tell people everybody's on the spectrum. It's just depending where you are.
That's fair.
In the South End in Kendall, there is Chabad of Kendall. They have the Friendship Circle. Howard Palmetto started a baseball league called Miracle League, not this past season.
Yeah.
Howard Palmetto built it with the Marlins and Dade County Parks, a baseball field for special needs. And they have, during the season, they have 8 teams.
Yeah.
And it's pretty incredible. And you see these kids, they're just so happy.
Listen, our commission has been committed to principles of inclusion. I've had more than one conversation with Commissioner Keon about, getting our businesses to hire people with developmental disabilities, hire people with autism. And I've said to her, there are companies that have done that, have already been committed to that. Goodwill, and in Coral Gables, you have Publix, when California Pizza Kitchen was open. But, I also said, let's get the city to kind of walk that talk. There are jobs that are perfect for folks with all different types of abilities. And what I've learned is that, types of jobs and skills where there's some repetitiveness and there's a process that can be a great opportunity for someone with a developmental disability. So, hats off to those who have already made those commitments in terms of their hiring. But when we talk about diversity and inclusion, I think we're talking in terms of the widest net possible. It goes beyond people of color. It goes beyond gays and lesbians. It goes beyond people with different abilities. I think you have to look even within that in terms of folks with various different abilities. So very proud of that, and very proud that our chamber now has a permanent seat on the city's disabilities board.
Right. We have Earth Day, Earth Month.
It's Earth Month. I mean, Earth Day's technically this week on Thursday, but now we really celebrate it. So it's been fun kind of watching.
We celebrate it every day.
What's out there in terms of cleanups and, things that are happening under Mayor Daniela Levine Cava's leadership. One thing I would tell you is the chamber and the city a couple years ago created a green business certification program. And that's a process by which a company can go through an evaluation and assessment. And what they can learn is, how committed are we to various, elements? On the low end, are we recycling? Are we giving incentives for employees who might bicycle to work? Did we put showers in? So if you bicycle to work, you can change and shower because, it gets pretty warm and moist in South Florida. And so a number of our companies have gone through that, and we love that program because, one, it's a partnership with the city, and second, it reminds people that you can't just talk about it, you have to walk that talk. And nowadays, people who are coming into the workforce or looking for opportunities, they're very committed to looking at employers who are committed to things that are important to them, and sustainability is very much one of them. I know we're going to talk about our time capsule. So last week we had a trustee reception, first in-person one since March 2020.
Where was that?
That was at Bay 13, and thanks to Frank Fernandez and David Pruna and the team at Center State South State Bank, they hosted us. We had about 45 people there, socially distanced, masks galore, and just a great, gorgeous Chamber of Commerce night to be out and about and to be together. So,
and the owner's name is again?
Nick Sharp and his lovely wife,
and Teresa he was there. Sharp. And he was there?
He was there. They were getting ready for another event. But we did our event from about 5 to 6:30, and let me tell you, the food is incredible. They did fish and chips, and
they call it chips or dip? Fish and dip? Fish and chip?
No, fish and chips. It's very much like what you would experience in the UK. But I will tell you, folks, if you love chips, if you love fries, go to Bay 13. There's nothing like it. The crispness. The only thing that eclipses it are my tater tots, my tro tots down at Arbiter's. But if you want a straight up chip or a fry, head over. There are very cool outfits. Not only how much Nick and Teresa have invested in the Gables, but the fact that they are super invested in the restaurant community.
Well, it's what they do is pretty incredible.
And we had a Good Morning Coral Gables. That was on Thursday. Will Dukes from Florida Sales Partners was our speaker, really giving people a brush up on, as they're getting ready to get back out into the face-to-face meetings in the workforce, that you got to really have your your message honed, possibly rehoned, depending on if your business model has changed. So really gave people some better tools for their toolbox in terms of business development and networking. And as always, it's great to work and partner with Will. Today we had our women's business lunch. I want to thank Lauren Fallick and DLE Legal for sponsoring. Lauren is an attorney at Haber Law, but she really spoke to the women about having a seat at the table, and the ladies loved it because she reminded us that it's not that far removed from when we all were experiencing, a significant number of issues in the workplace, even before Me Too. Phrases that I had never really heard of before, but better explained today, like microaggressions, mansplaining, and language. And, our chamber has been presided over by more than a dozen women. We've been very fortunate in our tenure to have great leaders in our chamber. Our incoming chair, Anna Chowie, is a great lady banker. I can't wait to be working with her and her leadership team. We begin seating those in September. But more important than that, a great way to celebrate the women in the chamber with this luncheon. So thanks, Lauren, and thanks, Nguyen. Tomorrow's a day at the ballpark. We're partnering with about a half a dozen other chambers. We're taking a great group from the Coral Gables chamber.
How many chambers are going to be there?
I think there are going to be 7.
Wow.
So you have Aventura, Greater Miami Chamber, Chamber South, South Dade Chamber, our chamber, and the Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber. And I'm sure I'm missing one, and apologies. Oh, probably the Hialeah Chamber.
Okay.
So we've got a great group. We did, just in our little group, 16 tickets. So listen, we've got to do our best to support the home teams, whether it's the Miami Marlins or others, the Heat, the Dolphins. It's hard in COVID to see, a path forward. But boy, I tell you, I've been to the Marlins Park, Lone Depot Park. This will be the second time, and they take very good care to sanitize and prepare. And it's going to be a great afternoon of baseball. These games, by the way, at 1:10 are built for the corporate partners. Go in, work until around noon, head over to the ballpark, have a hot dog, have something very Florida, Miami, authentico, and then most importantly, enjoy some baseball. Stay alert for any foul balls, but enjoy a great afternoon of baseball. So I'm sure tickets are still available. But we're looking forward to being out at the ballpark.
All right. Are you ready, Tommy?
Yeah, let's see if I can make it happen.
We got something special for you today, Mark.
Oh, nice.
We'll see what's going on.
Oh, here we go.
Chamber of Commerce, and today is our first trustee reception in more than a year. Our group has come together here at Day 13 in honor not only of our chamber, but the business networking opportunities that we bring to you each and every day. And I'm joined today by Frank Fernandez with Central State Bank, our host and sponsor. Frank, welcome.
So it's great to be back and be able to do this and this great friendly environment that Mark provides for us here in Gables in this amazing city.
On behalf of the Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce, make it a great one.
Another great event at Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce at May 13th. Hey, everybody.
There we are.
I think we look great. I had a hard time telling us apart here
I know.
on Lookalike Day.
Your hair is a little bit whiter. So
I think it's
the trustee, it was really
blonder.
blonder. That was a great event.
I agree.
And what's interesting is when it gets back to a new normal, there's so many new members, so many new trustees. It's like when I went to the member meeting the week before, all new members at Gramercy. So, all right. So you got this thing, get involved with the spring. What do you mean by that?
So this has really just been our mantra since we came back together in January and February, and that is about engagement, involvement. I know that people are looking for a path forward. I know what the new normal signifies. Some of us are there, some of us are not, some of us are somewhere in between. But you can't expect to come out of the gate and run a marathon when for a year you have maybe been a little bit disconnected from the networking world. Yes, you've been on Zooms, you've been in the 2-dimensional space, but it's different. It's like muscle memory. It'll come back like riding a bike. But use some of our events. We're doing 2 or 3 in person a month, and we would love to see you there. Wear your mask. Be sure that you sign up early because those events typically...
We still have our glass up.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that. Our events are typically quickly sold out because we do have a limited space. But we're still doing a number of events on Zoom. We'll have a forum on Thursday around the Latin American Business Executive Report and doing business in Latin America. That's at 2 o'clock with our partners at UF Coral Gables. And, last week was also a big week. I mentioned before our time capsule.
Yeah, let's finish that.
So first of all,
Where
thank you for
was it?
running that story today. You're very kind. So for 45 years, it has been buried in front of the old police and fire station in Salcedo. When that building got sold and swapped and sold, the new owner said, hey, listen, we need to address this. You got a couple of months, but let's get it out of the ground. So we worked with a contractor, identified, everything we needed to know about it, except for one thing. What condition was it going to be once we got into the ground? So when we were talking about, sustainability and sea level rise, we opened that slab and it was sitting in about an inch of water because the sea has literally risen in 45 years to the point where the water table there on Salcedo is up higher than when it was buried. So thankfully,
how long's the capsule been there?
45 years.
Come on. That capsule been there 45 years.
It was buried on July 4th, 1976. It's absolutely been there 45 years.
And what was in there?
There are about 58 different items, everything from letters of 1976 to folks today. Folks in 2076, a note from Mayor Knight, letters from school children of that era at Coral Gables High School to school children in Coral Gables.
Well, it had to be a bunch of Kurt Ike stuff or Hartnett stuff. They've been there for 80
Mayor
years.
Knight was the mayor that wrote the letter. I have a complete list, and Morgan has given you a link.
Oh, Morgan. Good morning.
To the article that we wrote.
Good morning, Morgan.
She got up very early today, like around 11.
Wow.
Because she was sending me very aggressive emails.
Well, good. We appreciate that. All right.
She would not consider them, but I learned today about microaggression. I am surrounded by it.
Well, so
can I just finish that?
Yes.
We have to find a home for it. Our goal is to rebury it on July 4th, when it will be, the 45th year. Put it back into the ground, undisturbed. Put it into quiet repose, and we'll leave it to the future generation to open it.
It's
2076. I think Morgan will still be with us. Morgan, I think, is around 30, and 55 years, she'd be 85. So I think she'll be the Connie Crowther of 2076. Connie was there with us, and she was there in 1976 when it was buried.
Okay, so you did this promotion with Sushi Maki.
We did it with them.
Then you did it.
Threefold.
And now you did one with Biltmore, the Kick It In.
Oh, my goodness. Incredible.
And now you're going to do one with El Car Wash.
We're going to work with Justin and his team. I pitched it to our team yesterday after meeting with Justin and you and Kayla for lunch.
What did your team say?
They're like, we love it. We love it. We love it.
It's going to be.
First of all, Justin and his guys are so generous. Second of all, and more importantly, I got to tell you, they are so community oriented. So, by the way, our friend George Gonzalez is with us. And I agree with you, George. It's in a lead-lined waterproof box. So even though it was sitting in water and in the kind of tar paper that was around it that had disintegrated, it was fully intact.
Well, George, thanks for watching.
Bury it the same way, probably in the same modality. But we're looking for a new home. So if you have any ideas, hit us up in the chat. I've got 3 ideas.
We could go to Slesnick's yard because he's going to be there for another 100 years. He ain't going nowhere.
I think we want to have it in a very commercial. Listen, here's an embarrassing thing. I didn't know we had a time capsule until it was time to move it. And someone sent me a letter and says, hey, bro, you got to move this. And I'm like, I went over and I'm like, how did we not ever know this? Unfortunately, my predecessors, a number of them, did not have the same level of sentimentality and hoarding that I have, where we don't throw anything away. I love stuff. I love archives. And so we're kind of rebuilding that thanks to Connie Crowther, thanks to items that Morgan has found, and even just some of the things we have discovered when we moved from Catalonia to Alhambra.
I just saw Mr. Robertson.
Ron Robeson?
Yeah, just saw
Where
him.
did you see him?
He's in South Miami. He's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I mean, we love Ron. So Ron was had a unique distinction. He was both a chairman of the chamber and then later our president, our executive.
Oh, that's the Dade County Youth Fair, same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
So anyway, we used to have a lunch together every year. I'd take him to the Biltmore. We'd catch up. We'd talk about the chamber. He'd scold me a little bit, which was perfectly fine because he was of that era. And listen, I just recently passed Ron in terms of longest serving exec. Ron was there about 14 years, and now I've been there 15. So,
well, Ron's good.
But
man.
I wish him well. I believe he has Parkinson's, and
he's still fully aware of it.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. So let's get back to this El Car Wash thing. So your goal is to get like another 2,000 Instagram followers with that.
So, we're at about 5,700 or so. And I think our goal is to, with El Car Wash, I think we can get up over 7,000. And here's why. Justin is offering for any following.
It was a great idea.
Yes. And thank you for that. For anybody who follows us could get a free car wash. But if you win, you get a year's worth of car washes. But by the way, first of all, check them out. They're in multiple locations. They are in their newest location by the zoo on 152nd in Kendall. They have a location down US 1 that's kind of more South Miami Pinecrest. A location by me on Lejeune as you head towards Miami Springs. And then they've also got a couple of other really awesome locations, Bird Road, etc. So, by the way, Gonzalo Sanabria is on, my old friend, and I say go Gators back to you, my friend.
Wow.
And, of course, our friend Morgan is always on top of things. She's engaging
George.
with George. Yeah.
All right. So new trustees, new members. What's going on with that?
Yeah, we've got 13 new members for the month already, and we've got about 8 days left to close.
What's your goal?
To close another 5. 2 trustees, a gem, and then a corporate and a business. So 5 more minimum.
Our friend Wayne, we won't say his last name. He still hasn't upped his membership, huh?
I think maybe he's
hiding,
upset with me, maybe ghosted me a little bit.
I don't know. I don't think
the thing about it is that you need to know is that I am persistent. So I'll create a fake account, use a different name, picture, and identity, and I'll reach out to him and flatter him, and he'll be like, "Oh, I'd love to hear more about your chamber." And then I'll be like, "Ha ha, Wayne."
Okay, so what new members, new trustees?
So about a lot of new members. Let me welcome our newest trustees. Oh, there's our friend Adam. U.S. Century Bank, Ascendo Resources. Those are our 2 new trustees. And then we've got Miami Center for Architecture and Design. Thank you, Cheryl. Diamond Bank Holdings, Quinn Reed Associates. That's our good friend with RMO is Gia. Allegiant Business Consulting, the Pantene Partnership, Leslie Pantene. Thank you.
Wait, Leslie Pantene. Junior.
Junior.
Wait, is it
no,
junior?
Senior. We're not talking about Les, who has his own firm too.
What's the son's first name?
Les.
What's the father's first name?
Leslie.
Oh, okay.
And he's the junior.
Okay.
Canopy Roofing, Premier Pediatric Dentistry, the Pantene Partnership, Canner and Pintaluga, Be More Arepas, Alhambra Station Cafe, and of course, I already mentioned U.S. Century Bank and Ascendo Resources.
I love that name, Alhambra Station. Where is that?
They're right next door to us on Alhambra, and they're going to be doing the food for our future Cafe con Chambers.
I'm excited for that. When you start doing in-house events,
we're doing one.
People,
April 30th, yeah.
People are going to pour in. How many members live? How many members or trustees are in your building alone? 10?
8 to 10.
Yeah, and within walking
and
distance.
Plenty of potential. But we've got a gem in Berkshire Hathaway. Northwestern Mutual is a trustee.
Oh, look, I renew your membership.
Florida. Gonzalo, bless you. We'd love to have
Gonzalo,
you back.
thank you for upping your membership to a gym. I appreciate
a terrific friend.
You hear what I said?
I did hear you.
Don't ignore me.
I'm not
ignoring you. You ignoring me? Okay, go ahead.
I don't want you to scare Gonzalo away, man. He's
First
got
of all,
a lot on his plate. So those are our new folks. The Marlins, of course, I talked about that tomorrow. I know that you and Tommy are going with one of our peer chambers, so I'm looking forward to seeing you at the ballpark.
I'm sitting with you.
Oh, good.
Wherever you are, I'm finding you. Right, Tommy? Tommy doesn't want to sit with me.
I have a seat for you right next to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you the ticket.
No, don't send me the ticket.
Right.
I'm going to go with that, but I'll get in there. So talk about this chamber thing. It's a great event, right?
Yeah, so where it really started was a little more than a year and a half
ago. Do you see what he just wrote?
No. You got it. Thank you, Gonzalo.
Gonzalo, hey.
So a little more than a year and a
guy.
half ago, maybe 2 years ago, when Derek came to town, he met with and spoke at a lot of local chambers. And in our conversation, he said 2 things were critically important. He said, 1, we need to get the corporate community out and engaged. And 2, I want to make opening day something really special. So we couldn't do it last year, and we struggled to do it this year just because of in-person attendance limitations. Now, I was there. Thank you, Andre. Thank you, Alfie. But let me just tell you a little story about the quality of that organization. So my niece, Diana, reached out to me over the weekend, and a very dear extended member of our family, his brother is terminal. He's not doing well. And the thing that he used to do with his 10 or 11-year-old son was always go to Marlins games. I said, maybe there's a chance they can go to one more game together. So I reached out to Alfie, and I said, hey, this is the situation. My niece brought it to my attention. I don't really know Theo, but I know the family. We love them. They're an extended part of the Trowbridge family because of my niece. And he goes, Mark, I know Theo. I know that family. I know what's going on.
That's Alfie.
That's Alfie.
Alfie knows.
I'm getting
everybody.
Literal goosebumps and chills, because it just reminds you that not only is Miami a small town, but it is so connected, interconnected. And people like Alfie Mesa, they're at the heart of that. And, it's just been really, really tough. And think about being 10 or 11 and your dad is really sick and he's only 44. And it just breaks your heart. It's not supposed to be like that.
Was he a Columbus grad or something?
I'm not sure about that.
Because Alfie knows.
My heart goes out to Theo and to Alex and the whole family and to Katri. And we pray for you and we love you and we embrace you. But I also say the same to our Marlins, because immediately responding. That's why we want to do what we can. And folks, in 2022, I'm asking you, let's make opening day like a national holiday, international holiday, please.
Speak about sports. Did you see the soccer attendance last week?
I know.
It was crazy.
So we couldn't sustain soccer in its first iteration, but you put a David Beckham in the mix. You put a few other high-level, high-profile, beloved, type of investors. And even though you had to go to Fort Lauderdale, and we may be up there for a couple years before we have our own location, but
we don't know they're going to come back. They might just stay there.
I can't imagine. And listen, Catherine Garrido is a member that's going to join our chamber, is working with that group, and we applaud her and the academy that they're putting together. And David Beckham's all in. His investors are all in. The folks from SoftBank. I mean, when you think of who's behind this, the Moss brothers, that was on its way out of town, and all of a sudden, the Moss brothers said, "We can't do this."
Those are class act guys. They gave a lot of money to their Columbus High School.
Yeah.
They did. When they say something, they do it not because of the money. They do it because they love Miami. But the fans there were crazy, and hopefully Marlins in 2022 will do the same thing.
Opening day, folks. Make a note. April 2022. Let's all be there together. Let's all be anything but socially distanced. Let's be there together.
I know that you have to leave soon, so we're going to wrap it up.
I do,
April
but I'm
Fools,
always here for you.
Small Business Summit. Welcome Morgan Stanley. Go for it.
Yeah, so I think the big thing that I would just mention is that, thanks for the continued partnership. Listen, we're very blessed with our partners here at Miami's Community Newspapers, not only working with Grant, Michael, Tommy, Aaron, the whole squad, but the fact that you're great collaborators. Morgan actually sent me a text on the way here referencing a challenge she was having, and she says, "Why can't everybody be easy like Grant?" Now,
was that a compliment?
I had a great response to that, but let me just say this, Grant. I love you.
Thank you very
You're
much.
my guy. You love our chamber. You work with everybody, but you always allow me the opportunity to have our organization shine. And we're going to get to do it again next week because you've invited me to a very special event that you're hosting.
No, excuse me. We hosted together.
We hosted together, but I think many of you know that you have been ingrained in this community for years, and you always put your talents and your network on display, whether you're having one of your luncheons with Joe at Anna Capri, which I loved, or you're doing your breakfast programs at Casa Cuba. Your first one now in more than 1 year.
13 months.
13 months, much like us, is going to be with our new mayor, Daniela Levine Cava, our county mayor. I'm going to host an MC. I hope you'll all come. It'll be next Tuesday, the 27th. It's election day in the Gables, runoff day. But come and start with us before you vote. And it's at 7:30 at Casa Cuba, right there in South Miami, just Gables adjacent. And join us. Join me. I can't wait to sit down and chat with Daniela. She loves to be called Mayor Daniela, very personable. We've known each other, by the way. Boy, we met in 1998 or 99. So more than 20 years when she was at the Human Services Coalition and I was at Switchboard of Miami. We both grew up very much in the nonprofit world. And so honored to be with her and with you. thanks for highlighting our members. We do that every week. Aaron and the team do a great job of putting that together. I really just want to finish talking about the Small Business Summit because we're just about 3 weeks away from that.
And you have 2 minutes because you got to be in your car.
Okay. I specifically want to say thank you to Lily and Sir and Associates, our title sponsors, GEM members. This is an event that was supposed to take place last May. Didn't happen because of COVID. We are one of the events of National Small Business Week, which runs May 2nd through 7th. But on Friday, the 7th, from 8:30, 8-ish to about 12:15, we're doing a lineup about the big impact of small business. It's at the Coral Gables Art Cinema. We're also being joined by sponsors Career Source, Atlantic Broadband, and Amerant Bank. A great lineup for an inaugural event. It'll be a hybrid. We can have up to 70 people in person, and then the rest, including a number of our speakers, will be on Zoom. But here's the lineup of speakers. We have Tom Sullivan from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Small Business Policy. We have Tony Villamil, Dr. Antonio Villamil, the chief economist at Amerant Bank.
He's an interesting
recovery. Authors Seth Levine and Elizabeth McBride on their new book called The New Builders, about the face of business today, especially small business. We're going to hear from our new mayor, Vince Lago, part of his listening tour. He's going to greet you and welcome you to this Small Business Summit. How about Dane Eagle, the head of the DEO, in conversation and presenting with our friend Rick Beasley from Career Source. Victoria Grunbaum is going to be talking about leadership. And Tamika Bickham from TB Media Group talking about brand, PR, brushing up and polishing up your social media, your message, your key messages. It's going to be a great morning. So proud of our team, so proud of Lily and her team for staying with us. We kicked the can down the road, but thanks to the SBA, we have an invite into Isabel Guzman, the new director and administrator, and I'm hoping she'll send us a video message of greetings. But it's all about surviving and thriving. It's about a return to what we saw before the pandemic, an incredibly robust economy. And your chamber, essential throughout, continues to be with you each and every step of the way. So let's thrive together, buy local, shop local, love local, be local. Grant, thanks as always.
Our pleasure. Grant Miller here.